Stratford is known for being a challenging school with a lot of talented students, but how does that reputation affect its kids? I talked to some students to see what being a student leader at Stratford is like for them. Here's what they said.
We chose co-chair because we wanted to be co-chair.
Yeah.
And we probably got it because we've been part of the committee since
I started freshman year.
I started sophomore year.
Yeah, we've been on the subcommittee and we just kind of worked our way up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot about managing a lot of the groups.
And I feel like we really have to credit the subcommittee chairs because they do a lot of the heavy lifting. We just kind of oversee everything and make sure that the overall picture is coming together.
Because we have to deal with so many people, we have to make sure that everyone is doing their part and on time.
Mm-hmm. Just being able to organize more than 600, I want to say including volunteers and parents and teachers, it'll be closer to 700 people this year.
A lot of people like to turn in sign-ups like 3 weeks after they're due.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of leaders like to put in their jobs 3 weeks after they're due. So we kind of just have to make sure that everything's getting done. Yeah.
So organizing the registration, that was probably the hardest.
Yeah.
Because we had pretty much a stack of 600 papers to sort through. I love what I do because for me personally, I like to see representation at Stratford, and I feel like we kind of help in that sense, I guess.
A lot of people ask me all the time, like, are you just doing this to put it on your resume? But it's genuinely something that's so fun. Like, planning it can get kind of stressful or repetitive, but on the day of, everyone has so much fun and it's so rewarding.
Right, it is. Like, the day of when we see everyone come together, it's just like relief, but also you feel really proud of yourself.
So I've been president of the chess club for 2 years, and then it existed under another president before me. I have to do a good amount of stuff. Obviously, I organize meetings. I get people like set up to get passes. I have to set up our location spot too. That was a big issue in the beginning of the year. We also organize tournaments, so both the one that we have at Stratford and also going like to other tournaments at other high schools. So we actually won twice. So there's 2 sections for high schoolers. There's the open section and the reserve section, and that's just based off your like rating and experience. And Stratford, we didn't place first in any of these categories, but as a team, we had the cumulative highest score. So we actually got 2 big fat trophies for that, which is awesome.
Okay, so we don't really have positions for this year's leadership because we had a very non-conventional team as of last year because of COVID. And we all decided to just share responsibility, and what we were able to take, we would.
Right, so both of us were elected to our positions by the classes last year, so there was a vote that we held to get elected as officers within the council, but also the teacher had some say in like what he wanted for the team next year.
You have to run the tournament, the Stratford tournament, which is so stressful, but it's very rewarding. You have to make sure that the team is doing well, like socially, you need to make sure that like people are happy, not fighting, which not saying that that happens often, but just kind of like diffusing conflict, working people towards being their best, just keeping the team motivated.
Yeah, and you also have to train a lot of the novices and like keep them engaged with the team, because one problem that we see a lot is novices will leave the year after they sign up because they don't like the debate. So it's our job to keep them interested and motivated so they come back next year. Yeah, and there's a lot of responsibility sometimes, especially during like the tournament. That's the hardest part of the year, I think. So it's just about learning to like delegate your responsibilities to other people and sharing the load so that you don't have to put a lot of stress onto yourself.
From my time as president, I truly loved being in that position. We do it in like a weird where we like switch officers halfway through the year.
We both started our sophomore year as sophomore rep. I went sophomore rep and then treasurer, and then now I'm president.
And then I went sophomore rep, social officer, and then president. So 2 different pathways, but both ended up being
you have a lot of officers around you who are working with you, but then as president, instead of being one of them that it's like, oh, I'm not sure what to do, I'll just ask them. It's like, if you're not sure what to do, you have to ask yourself, and you're like, what should I do here? Or like go talk to the directors.
And it was really fun to kind of bring back thespians from prior to COVID. Probably the hardest part, just going through and making sure like we brought back everything. It was just hard because I had never experienced a full thespian year, so it was kind of like trying to get all of that together.
What is the stress like having to manage being
the thespian president while also being heavily involved in the shows?
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. The nice thing is that some of it does overlap, but it is a lot. It is, some days you have rehearsal till 6 and then you have to go home and make a spreadsheet or organize a meeting or something. And so it is a lot, but it's what we love.
Yes.
I feel like the past few years, like I've spent these past few years trying to get to a point where like everybody was doing the same amount of work and we were all growing together as individuals. And then back when I first started, it was not like that. It was like we wanted to be really great and like we were great, but it came at a cost, and the cost was, you know, having to lean on certain people. I think the hardest part is knowing that like not everyone's gonna love it as much as some people in the class. Not everybody is like in love with making videos, and that's okay. But just like you just have to like treat them or try to like teach them differently. As a senior with senioritis, like this class is like one of the main reasons why I come to school. Why would you be in a club just because you feel like you should fill your time doing something? That's not gonna get you a leadership role. Just do something that like you genuinely like every morning, like you wake up and you come to school for that class.
Okay.
I've been on student council since the freshman year, and then I really wasn't planning on running for president. I just wanted to be on executive board, but I was like, it might be fun to be president. I might as well give it a shot. I didn't want to live with regret, so I applied, and it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. One of the most like important parts, I guess, is delegating to the other people. Like saying, you have to go do this job, you have to go, I don't know, just different things like that. I get to talk to so many different people. I think most kids at the school have taught me something different about, leadership or kindness or anything like that. So it's really opened a lot of opportunities for me, for sure. It's definitely a roller coaster. The hardest part, I feel like there's a lot of doubt involved with being president, just because you never know what you should be doing. As the year has progressed, I've definitely grown and, become a little more confident in the role, but at the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing. I constantly felt like I wasn't doing a good job, and I feel like you have to be very sure of yourself. I've always been scared of messing up because I want to make everyone around me proud. I feel like I'm a people pleaser for sure, like most kids, but yeah, sometimes it does get stressful. I feel like I'm letting people down. I know, it's awful.
You're doing amazing.
Oh, thank you. There's certain groups that kind of get left out. And this year, we've really tried to pull them in, tried to include them in like the student council vote. There's still steps that need to be taken for the student council representatives to represent the whole student body, but I think we're definitely getting closer.